So this is the first in a line of videos that are going to be builds for Warframes and like my setup for them. The reasoning behind them, that kind of stuff. This one's going to be a little longer because I'm going to go into my history with Warframe, why Chroma is my main, and who the fuck shot me? And I'm out on the Plains of Eidolon because I have to do some mining. That's not mining. Nope, that's that. So my history with Warframe goes back to the start, or goes back to when it first launched in 2014 on consoles. And the only reason I had a memory of this, but I wasn't 100% sure. I thought I might have been a little delusional because I know I fully started playing in 2017, but I did remember thinking that I had played for a little bit and then tried to get into it for over a week, and just too many other things were going on, other games, friends wanted to play other things. And it turns out I have these 3 achievements here. I hit rank 2, which I'm assuming is Excalibur, because I'm pretty sure that was the original frame I picked. 10 Cypher, so I definitely went through a spy mission. And then I built an item in the foundry because I'm pretty sure the starting quest requires you do that. Right, like to get rid of the thing on your ankle and then arm and yeah, whatever. Anyway, so I did all that shit, and then I just fell off because the game felt weird. And as much as I wanted to get into it, because especially back then, there was not a ton of there weren't a lot of co-op games, like at all. There just weren't a lot of co-op games. To be fair, there are still not a ton of co-op games. You know, Dead still push for PvP, and now there's that absurd obsession with PvP and PvE because I don't know, almost. Anyway, I remember hearing about the Plains of Eidolon, and while I didn't really give 2 shits about it being open world, I do like open world. It's just not a selling point. It's just a thing for me. 3 years later, I was reminded, oh yeah, Warframe exists, and I really wanted to play it. So, you know, looking at the wiki and seeing it's very comprehensive, and looking at some other videos and seeing the movement seemed a lot better, I came back and I loved it. Played it for about 1.5 years. The last thing I played was Fortuna for about a month. So it was very early 2019 is basically when I stopped. At that point, there was no weeklies to do. There was just... It was pretty much just sorties and grinding rep. And grinding rep takes like a week. You know, it's a pretty... not the most extensive process to max out rep and start buying crap. Granted, it takes longer than that if you want to get everything there is to get, collect all the stuff or whatever. But what I'm getting at here is between there being like no resurgence, no weeklies, no whatever, and me not being big on trading from years of old EverQuest and Diablo 2 days of just... I hate trading. I hate haggling. I hate trading. I don't like dealing with individual people. People suck. Granted, this, you know, Warframe community is pretty nice, and the Warframe market does make it way less of a pain in the ass. It's very simple. Point is, I could only have so many frames, and there was only so many things. Ooh, whoops! Fuck that one up. Yeah, fuck me. There's only so many things available that I inevitably fell off, and ultimately, all I was concerned with at that point was, I want more story. Right? We had the sacrifice. And for why it took 6 years is I didn't hear much else. I want to say the first thing I heard about, and I may have heard about Deimos or Railjack, but I just don't remember it. But the first thing I remember hearing was about the New War. Oh, well, fuck me on that one too, huh? Yeah, okay. I had heard about the New War, but what I had gotten from the, what I had heard about was you get to play as Grenier or Corpus. Right, to me, it sounded like some weird side story where we're getting to either see memories or it's just not connected to anything because, you know, hey, maybe they just decided to do another mode where it's not connected to anything. And whatever. As far as I was concerned, we were playing other people and it wasn't a continuation of Lotus's story, which obviously nowadays it was, but I didn't know that back then. So I was like, that's cool, but I don't care. And then the next thing I heard about was Deviri, which was, again, us playing as another dude in a weird fantasy setting. Again, not playing our character, nothing to do with anything I cared about, which, again, was wrong. But that is the impression I got from the outside looking in. And then the next thing I hear about, more recently, is 1999, where we get to play as another dude. And I'm like, okay, look, it's been 6 years. I obviously don't have the full story about what the hell they're doing. And there's no way. There we go. There's no way they just abandoned the story after the sacrifice. That would be absurd. So I figured I had to really. Oh, or Valis. Well, shit. I should have perhaps read that better. I just thought it was rare. So, what was I saying? There's something about, I was on, right, 1999, playing another dude. So anyway, I came back on late January, because I'd heard about 77, reminded me how much I'd been wanting to get back into Warframe, but just hadn't gotten around to it. Hey, here's one. And, you know, a bunch of people were trying Destiny out for the first time. I watched some, Aztec Tross, some other people. And when they were getting into like story content, I was like, I gotta stop. I don't even know what this Dynamo shit is or what it really, I want to experience that myself. So I ended up deciding I was going to watch their crap later. Cause let's face it. At this point, I watched so many people play Warframe for the first time. It's become a freaking side hobby. So, come back. Bummer. And the new war straight up concludes the story, which was phenomenal. I loved the new war. So I absolutely have loved everything that's come back. I love that we've got a Nightwave. Oh my god, the Nightwave. Nightwave did not exist back in 2017 or 18 or whatever. Being able to get free Warframe slots, being able to buy potatoes from the store, oh my god. It has dramatically changed how I engage with the game, which is nice. 1999 having a weekly calendar to go through has been very nice because it gives me something to do every week. Deviri, Deviri's a weird thing where, there we go, where I like it, but I also it's a nice change of pace and I also get tired of it very quickly. I like the circuit for sure. And it's nice to have the circuit as another weekly. Oh, the Archon shards. I love the Archon system. The helmet system is fantastic. Like the whole helmet being upgraded a ton is great. Literally did the avenues of growth and just build complexity has been a very nice change of pace on top of all the things to do each week, versus not having all those back in the day. Yeah, Archimedes have been a fun thing to deal with. I do wish they changed it to be like, I get that they're gonna, like, two of the columns are gonna just be random bullshit, and the left column is always going to be something you have access to, or at least something picked is always going to have something you have access to. I just wish it wasn't your entire inventory and it was things you physically had in a setup, because the amount of things I have that literally I have not touched and are unranked and have no mods in them, and it just gets selected as that's a fucking pain in the ass. It feels like they're penalizing you for collecting stuff at that point. Anyway, that's basically the whole main history with Warframe. As far as Chroma, like Chroma and Pause, I am playing Chroma, or Chroma is my main, because I had a character, well, two reasons. One, first and foremost, there's no real druid yet in this game, and I really hope the fungus dude is not a druid. I kind of hope he is. I mean, if the fun guy is a druid and has shapeshifting and then also has a fungus ability, that's rad. I'm going to be the happiest person. But if it's just a bunch of fungus powers and they're like, that's our druid, I'll be like, oh, okay, no shapeshifting, no changing of roles, just a lot of fungusy shit. I'll be a little disappointed. But yeah, no druid. So I was trying to, how do I put this? I have a bunch of characters that I tend to like remake in games, There is a barbarian I made a long time ago in the early 2000s that I have recreated in so many games. It was in D&D. And, the barbarian, he dual wielded basically swords, like cleavery like swords. In Fallout games, he's used shotguns. I like the idea of him dual wielding pistols, though I want to say in the D&D campaign, he threw knives at people as a hobby. But the themes for that character were blood, like he would literally lose life raging and he would leech it back. He did have some psionic potential, so he did like teleport at people to attack him, which is one of the reasons I got Wrathful Advance now. It's so on brand. I cannot stress how happy I'm about that existing. Because I do prefer melee, and being able to teleport and my melee is better is a dream come true for this character. But that's as for why Chroma specifically, I originally had let's start with Excalibur, which I knew was never going to work. He wasn't very tanky. I got Rhino right away, hoping that would work out. And then finding out how Overguard works, and that Overguard is basically his tank mechanic. He has his stats for tanky are poop. He's got a lot of shields, and it's just all about soaking up damage to build up your Overguard, and then having this temporary health. Wouldn't work because I can't leech Overguard. I might have stuck with him if there was like a mod for Iron Skin where like melee kills or melee attacks would like leech into Overguard, so you got it back, kind of how Dante has the regeneration. But the fact that it just didn't work. Like visually fits perfectly. He's definitely visually fits the idea, but mechanically falls apart. And Naros mechanically works if you ignore the fact that all his abilities are sand based. But he's super Egyptian, which doesn't really match the barbarian thing I was going for. So Naros was out. Nidus, again, very whatever. Grendel didn't exist back then. I do love Grendel. I love Naros and Nidus, Grendel. But yeah, none of them, basically, what it comes down to is Chroma's the only one that mechanically worked and visually fits. Like his original form, like his base Chroma is very primal looking. And I do really like this sort of dragon knight look, but it also does have a good amount of primal flair to it, I guess. Like I could definitely see a barbarian dressed up like this who just really liked dragons. Like they were just his favorite thing, and he's yeah. So there you go. That's why I am playing Chroma. It's why I'm using a Tigris, because double barrel shotguns. It's why I'm using the reason I'm using these things is because I just got them. These are Magnus Primes. I just got Act Magnus Primes because I found out you only can get them through Barrow, and I got the Tenno Con thing. So this week was basically Barrow's, the Barrow relay week. Managed to farm these things up. They're pretty fun. They're pretty solid. I like that they can proc ammo efficiency. And so there's like moments where you're just pointing down a hallway doing this thing, and it just doesn't stop, and it's great. Feels great. Oh, also, when it comes to Chroma's build and all my other builds I do not care about the meta, which should be pretty goddamn obvious for the fact that everything I have is single target. That's another aspect of that character. Going back to D&D and who he was originally, I refused to take cleave or greater cleave, and I never built towards whirlwind. I did get the dual wield feats, and anyone who knows 3rd edition D&D probably realizes that you need like most of those just to get to whirlwind anyways. And I actively avoided anything that would allow him to hit more than one target, with one exception, which was a psionic ability that did a ton of did some AoE around me, which to some extent I get with this, but the damage from this sucks balls. This is really old school damage values on this word, like if we go back to the 2017, 200 damage a second would be perfectly fine fighting level 50s or 40s or something, as far as just supplemental damage in melee. But this thing it's fucking useless. You could literally remove the heat damage and 10% status chance that doesn't change, and just keep the health, and it would be the exact same ability as far as I'm concerned. But I guess, hey, thematically it's pooping out damage around him, I guess. Yeah. Anyway, he was very single focused. He liked to focus. I would always focus on a single target. I liked the idea that he was that single minded, that he didn't ever bother even attempting to cleave through somebody to hit someone else, because his only focus was that one person until they were dead. Yeah. So that's why I'm not using any AoE anything on him. Though I will say this does have punch through, so it can rip right through a whole group of enemies, which is pretty solid. But you know what I mean? Yeah. So here is the build. He is using a Tigris Prime, the AK Magnuses, and Twin Cronkers. This is not complete. There are definite
together, operator.
sort of. Well, this one's probably done. Yeah, everything. Oh no, it's not. It's not done. I just remembered. I still have Quickening in here. I do have Primed Fury, which I can get up 2 more levels, get a little more attack speed. I do not need the combo chance. But that is 14 points, and I need to re-roll this slot as a V shape just so I can fit this in here. And for now, I'm not bothering with that. At some point I'll do it, but yeah. This is my current Riven for it. It's got slash damage, status chance, and critical chance, and I realize the slash damage on this is mostly pointless. The main use of this is that it just keeps slash a little better than viral. So I often apply slash and viral. I could see trying to re-roll this to get crit damage instead of slash, even though crit isn't super great on this thing. Crit damage is bad. Like, this is basically a slash. This is at base. This is 250 damage, 19 crit chance, and 1.7 crit damage, and 33 status. It is a status weapon, and I'm using Crossing Snakes because this combo, I love this Twin Fang combo. Just the single first attack counts as a double hit, which does double proc affliction. So where having the plus slash does help me, I realize percent slash damage does not help the proc itself, the damage from it, but it does guarantee it happens more often. So I'm likely to do 2 slash or 1 slash and a viral, in which case I get 7 slash and 7 viral, and that's great. Or I get 14 slash. Either way, a few attacks in, I'll have virals and slashes, and then I can pop this, and they now have literally every... so, let's say I hit twice, right? I just do 2-3 hits, whatever, I get a slash proc and a viral proc, and then I tap this. It will add 2 procs because it's 2 hits, so... whatever, let's just say those are 2 slash procs. So it's 3 slash procs, 1 viral. Affliction will trigger twice, which will be 12 add to viral, so viral's now 10. So basically, if there's any viral at all, I will always max it out by tapping this. And then it will add 12 stacks to whatever the slash is, which is pretty ridiculous. It's very silly, and most things just don't survive it. But yeah, it's I love Guardian Derision. I do like making tanks, like actual proper tanky stuff. I like being able to pull aggro. It's also just very useful on Chroma. Healing Return to heal myself. Obviously, I've got viral status damage for the slash procs, plus more status chance on the kills. Heavy attack. It's nice knowing I'll always have a plus, like a ×5 multiplier for slams or whatever at minimum once I get a few kills in, which is good. I love these galvanized bonds. They're pretty rad. Yeah. And then these are the current act magnets. They are not. Like I said, I recently got these. I really need to. My plan on them, what I think was to do electrical. Oh, that's right. Yeah, electrical status for reload speed and multi whatever. Because that will help with reload speed. And more multi-shot, which means more chance to proc this thing, as long as there's enemies I could shoot at. 4% for 4 seconds. I got multi-shot there, multi-shot. Crit damage and punch through, very useful. These things are also very, very, 28 crit, 28 whatever, 2.8 crit damage. That's pretty damn solid. That is pretty damn solid. So I'm definitely going to try to play into the crit damage side of things, and then pretty much just have, because I don't, like right now we are at a 53% status chance, which is more than enough to get whatever procs. Ideally more. I'm going to do a electrical 60-60. In fact, I could throw that up there right now for the hell of it. Throw jolt up. And then we're going to have a convulsion when I get things. And I think this is just going to be crit damage. Just pure crit damage. There is status chance at direct damage, but I'm not going to bother with that. If I was using something that built up damage instead, I probably would swap. Oh wait, shit! I don't have that at all. I thought that was that. Whoops! I need to have Hornet Strike in. Oh wait, no, I don't. I'm Chroma. This is for Chroma. That's why I don't have it. Cause Chroma, I have 900%. That's why I don't. Yeah, never mind. Fuck Hornet Strike. I'm Chroma. I knew there had to be a reason. So yeah, we'll do crit damage here, pure lightning damage here for the sake of the procs. It'll primarily proc whatever 60% on this thing, but it's on a multi-shot. I could, considering the 60% with the amount of multi-shot going, it's going to trigger all the time. I could see going for, well, what's Elementalist for pistols? I know for shotguns I never use it. Let me rephrase it. I don't use Elementalist on my Tigris as much as I would want to. Status damage and reload speed. Yeah, that'll probably do. It's primary electricity. That'll go up even more once I have the other thing in. What will that put it to, out of curiosity? Yeah, 26.9% chance. 2.7 at base. This will bring it up to another 120%. So that'll bring it up to 3.9. This thing eventually going will kick it over 4 easy. This is another 120%. So it'll be 3.9. A few into this will bring it up to 4. Maxed out, it'll be 5. It'll definitely be triggering jolt all the time, or electrical procs all the time. The reason I don't use Elementalist on this is because of my own personal dislike of not having exactly 2 shots. It is a double barrel shotgun. It should be 2 shots. So right now this thing has -24 magazine capacity. If I re-rolled this and I could get that negative capacity higher without fucking up the multi-shot and punch through, that would be ideal. But I think I would need like 40% just to compensate the 60% bonus magazine to not gain a round. Oh, I'm not actually sure how high I would have to go to avoid that, to be honest with you. Anyway, this is the current build. It's got corrosive, and then I went towards heat. Reload, I'm using dexterity to gain damage on melee kills, but the main reason I'm using this is just combo duration. At the end of the day, I find almost all of these useless for my personal setup. I do not need percent damage. Again, I'm at 900 whatever, so well, a little extra would be nice. Recoil, the gun doesn't really have recoil. It just fucks over its sprite if you fire the second shot too fast. The headshot multiplier would be kind of nice, I guess. There is the dexterity one that gives you reload speed, which would also be not dexterity. It's on shotgun kill within 5 meters, multi-shot reload. This would be amazing, and this is what I was going to use. My problem with it is you have to get the kill. You have to get within 5 meters. In my opinion, that should be going up. The 5 meter mark is really real close. I guess I could always be like, okay, I want to shoot those guys, and there's a guy near me. I could shoot him and then get my massive multi-shot bonus. It doesn't last long enough. I could always try to do like this. I would say this has more potential than what I have in there right now. So if I ever max out, I might switch to that. But, I really don't need the extra the combo duration. The pause is currently, anytime he hits something, he resets my combo duration anyways. That's all that stuff. Chroma's current setup right now is pretty standard. I have changed things dramatically. Well, it was very standard-ish. It's full Umbra because I like being actual tanky. I had the arcane battery, and I was using quick thinking as a backup health bar. I don't like the idea of relying on that as a health bar. I think that works out pretty well if you're doing nourish and stuff, and you can gain a massive amount of energy from a lower amount of health, but I just don't like it. I like don't get me wrong, I like the mechanic. There's a lot of things where I'm like, I don't like it, and what I mean is for the character concept, I don't like it. Mechanically, I think it's a cool mechanic. I think shield gating is a cool mechanic. I like all of those options. I don't want to use anything like that on him because it just goes against everything. Steel charge, I think, is freaking pointless for me. Again, Chroma. I have 928, and that will go up. I have switched over to Arcane Blessing and Bellicose, so eventually he will be over 3,000 health if I get enough whatever stuff. So basically, the reason I'm not using Adaption, for example, is because it's inconsistent. When I think of tanking from the standpoint of actually being a tank, holding aggro, that kind of thing, and that means being very consistent in how long you stay alive. Adaption is very inconsistent. It's very, very useful, and on top of what I'm doing now would be great. If I threw it over instead of Guardian Armor, he would absolutely be tankier. But I do like Guardian Armor in that it is health regeneration for me. I would have to put Adaption on here and then go back to health regeneration over here. I'd probably maintain Bellicose because Bellicose is providing me with a good amount of ability strength. Without it, I have 291. So it is giving me about 46 extra ability strength, which is pretty great. Worth it, frankly. But this setup right here does result in me being tankier than what I had before. And this is sort of important. So when I had Arcane Grace and I had Quick Thinking, I put Prime Flow in here because I don't want to lose the amount of, I liked having 600 plus energy. That's fantastic. If this thing ever gets maxed out, which I need a second Umbra on Aroxia before I'm willing to max this out. That is a potential whole other video. Before that, this all got me, along with my arcane shards, to about 39,000, almost 40,000 effective health from my health bar alone. Now you notice I have almost 2,000 health, and the reason for that is I have 4 health shards and 1 ability strength shard. Now, all of these being armor would have does not come out to remotely the same effective health. Because he is such high armor with Vex armor, and he very extremely low health, this makes a dramatic impact on his effective health and his effective healing from regeneration. And as far as like making all these armor, that would be better at base, but all strength shards would be better. Like if I was doing, I'm only surviving off energy. Energy is going to be like 90% of my health bar. And I don't, like people run around with like the base 370 health and it's all energy to them. All of this being strength shards would be better because a strength shard is very slightly more armor than an armor shard. Plus, more damage, whatever. And armor is more effective when we're talking about in relation to the energy bar. But like I said, I want to be consistent. And the second you're in your energy bar, you can no longer gain energy from Hunter's Adrenaline, which means you have to regenerate or get some form of health back so that you can build up that energy again. And I just don't like that, like dealing with that inconsistency. So Arcade Blessing, this is a growth over time. Eventually he's over 3,000 health, which brings me to, I want to say this brings me into like the 90,000 effective health range, which is well over any character I currently have right now, except for maybe Nidus with his 90% damage reduction. But his effective health is also low as shit. But you 10 times even 16,000 and you're 160,000. So it's that 10 times is pretty great, right? So I'm going to throw out right now the current setup, total armor, and then what it is if all the armor, if all the whatever is there. So we're 1181. That puts me at 44.3. So at base right now with max Vex armor, I'm a good roughly 4,000 more effective health than I was before. So that's nice right off the bat because of the ability strength increase. More effective base health with Vex armor. If we just increase the armor, or sorry, we've just increased our health by the max bellicose, same value. I don't update Vex armor at all in that time. Like I don't let it fade off and then redo it. Keep in mind, when you cast this, it snapshots itself, and you refreshing that duration will not change that. So you need to let it fade off, which is kind of a pain in the ass with Guardian armor, which is why I'm looking at it from this standpoint is 71,800. So that's great. That's way too high. That for Archimedias, that's ridiculous. Archimedia, 20,000 is sort of the minimum, I would say, for being tanky, as long as you have a lot of health or a lot of regenerations. Like my Grendel is roughly 25,000 effective health at base, just sitting around, and he regenerates almost as like he almost regenerates 3,000. He's like 2,000 something health per second after he's been in Meatball for over 10 seconds. So he ends up being very tanky due to the amount of regeneration he has. Plus, if he uses Nourish, it's a full heal because it's more health. He literally heals like 3,700, and he only has like 3,500 or something. So it's always a full heal for him, which is great. But if I somehow let Vex armor fade and I was to redo it and get everything back without dying in that process, which would be, to be fair, easier with having the full max health, we would actually have 72 from this instead of the 44-ish, which would bring me to 363, which would be 1,633.5% for Vex armor. Awesome. That's 8,610 armor. That is 39.7 times effective health, which is pretty fucking crazy. 93,147 effective health. Now, this is where this becomes more tanky than using energy. What I had before was at 1,300 energy if I had my max of Vex armor going. I had a good amount of health from energy. So what I used to have before was just under 40,000 health and then 63.8 thousand effective health from energy, right? And all combined, that puts it at about 103, a little under 100, about, let's say 103,000. Roughly a little under 103,000 and like 800 something, but whatever. 103,000 effective health, which is more than my 93,000 effective health, right? But if I get to that 93,000, that's the actual total effective health that I'm healing from. So my Vex armor right now, I heal 16% over whatever, but that will actually be higher in this very specific situation. We would heal 6.05% per second. That gives us 5,580 health per second effective healing. That's Grendel levels. So right now, under the ideal circumstances, especially in Deviri or whatever, if I could get this thing maxed out, this is hands down my tankiest character in the game. But only because if I could get this, which takes, to be fair, forever. Unless someone else is making a butt ton of health orbs, it's taking its sweet time. Now, I didn't build pause for it. But I do have room. I don't need medi whatever bullshit. So I'm thinking I should throw in synth deconstruct instead. Because this thing, enemies injured by the companion have a 25% chance to drop a health orb when killed, and he kills a lot of enemies. So every fourth enemy getting a health orb would be nice. Anytime I can execute an enemy, that's a guaranteed health orb, because I got that on my Parazon shit. Holster weapons reload, sure, that's pointless, but that's, hey. So if I figure I throw, that's pointless. This right here, 100%, this would be nonsense, pointless for my companion. I do have this on a Roxy though. But anyway, this is getting to pause. Here's pause's current build, I guess. I got tandem for the combo counter thing. I got obviously the fetch and loot radius savagery unleashed because he is a Sunika. I'm going to replace this with a synth deconstruct at some point. I got hunters because anytime he hits an enemy, it's a full heal. I got pack leader so I can heal him. I just got primed pack leader. Here's his current claw setup. I got bloodthirst, so if he ever hits anybody with some slash procs on him, he gets some healing himself that way. I think that might be a bit pointless, but also it doesn't matter. He is destructive as fuck. He has a 41% crit chance. He has a 14 times multiplier on a crit. Sunikas, by the way, are insane. They have a pretty damn high crit multiplier, mediocre crit chance, and mediocre status chance, but they have a 550 base damage. It is literally the highest base damage of any of the companions in the game by a pretty damn sizable margin. I do have a second build here that is all hunters and mecha for Oberon, where I have Oberon fully built for 100% all hunters and all mecha. Very different setup. Still very fun. I can't wait for the Oberon rework. I am so looking forward to that. So the fun thing I was talking about making things tanky, because I love things being tanky. Now Sunikas only have 300 base armor, but we're linking fiber, which means he's getting 125% of my armor as Chroma. So we're going to go off base. We're not even going to go to the crazy, I spent enough time in the level that I've maxed out my health and I've reset everything and now I'm super crazy extra Vex armor bullshit. We're going off the absolute base I have right now. So that is an extra 6,575.75 armor from myself. But, and here is again the fun part. He also makes use of Vex armor. He gets that percent bonus of his 300. So he's gaining 3,843 armor from my Vex armor. Divide that by whatever. That's 35.7 times effective health, which is absolutely fucking bonkers. And as you can see here, he has 3,249 health. That's not counting the 1,200, obviously, from whatever, which would be another 125% of that, which would be even more. But we're not going to bother with that, right? This is just his base. We started the map. Here we are. 116,000 effective health. That is 97.2% damage reduction due to the insane armor, as long as he is within that 20 meters of me, which is one of the reasons I have Guardian on. So he tries to stay within 15 of me. He rarely dies. If he dies, it's because he fucked off and in some random area and got hit by a whole lot of bullshit while I wasn't meleeing. If I'm meleeing, he's fine. If he's next to me, he's harder to kill than I am. It's great. I love having a big ass Kubro that literally does not die. Yeah, it's nice because I know a lot of people like I like Kubros, but they die all the time, so I don't use them. I use something else, and it's just nice. Basically, anytime I can make a character dumb tanky, I try to pair them with a Kubro of some kind because they're the ones that are hard to keep alive. Anyway, that is the pause build. I also I forgot to talk about why pause. Just I'll throw it in here now. The reason he's called Pause is because, again, D&D, I made a dwarf druid who had a wolf companion named Pause. And ever since then, I've just liked naming dogs Paws in games. So here we are with my main Kubro named Pause. That's the short end of that one. Not a long story. Pretty simple. So yeah, that's my Chroma build. That's why Chroma be my main and all that. I guess the only thing that left for the video to get into would be it's Chroma. We all know. I've got to start talking about how bad things are because they're not bad, but they're bad. Chroma's health is awful for a health tank, which is what he is. I realize he has shields, and that's. They play to that with the elemental ward or whatever. As far as his number one, which I obviously have replaced, and I would still, just to be clear, even if they made the number one amazing, I would still be replacing with my primary build. Whatever. But for me, I feel like the damage it does, while a little pitiful, and the fact that you can keep meleeing with it, I do think it's kind of okay. It's disappointing, but I think its biggest failure is ultimately there's okay. Its status chance is 100%. If the status chance went up by ability strength so that you were playing more than one status a second, I think that would go a pretty long way, especially with electricity or heat. I think that would go a pretty long way to making it less shit. Frankly, I wish it just threw a fireball. There's the mod where if you turn it off, it shits a ball of elemental out. I wish it did that all the time. Like you just press the button and it just fucks off a ball at someone, and then maybe we hold it down and we do whatever. But then then you got the whole swapping elements thing they've decided to attach to it, which was enough about that bullshit. Elemental, this is fine. Pretty much all the damage except for toxin is useless. Cold does have some fun things where I think that counts as melee damage all the time. So there's some weird arcane things you can proc with ice or with cold ward. That's cool. Electricity is good crowd control, and it's a nice I know people will be like, oh, it's crap, you should never have that because you got to build your damage up. The thing is, if you got to do Vex armor and you get nothing from it and you don't have your shields up, electrical ward is a great fallback because you can Vex armor and then immediately elemental ward and get back. Like right now I get back all of my shields. I get 371 or 3 or whatever shields back, and awesome. That immediately gets taken away. I get what amounts to 37 or I get like 90-ish% of my armor bonus, and then I can build the rest up with melee. That was very nice. I went over to heat purely from a tanking standpoint. I might go back to electricity just from a survivability standpoint. I don't know, man. My biggest thing here, outside of just some of the things being kind of poopy and weak, reload speed. They need to change the readout. I mean, first things first, I'd like it to be more than 35%, which is what it is. It is not 135%, it's 35%, but they show 135%. And what's funny is normally in any other readout, it would either say 35 or 1.35. So this thing either should say 1.35 or 35, not 135. 135 is misleading as fuck. We all know it. That is super fucking misleading. That I don't know why that has not just been changed to not be confusing, but you know, it is what it is. Vex armor, what can I say? It's a great ability that's ornery as fuck. Okay. I want more than anything to, when I turn this on, to get basically 20% of the bonus at the start. Turning this on should give me 20% of the bonus, and then we should build the rest of the way there. I'd be happy if the taking damage, like right now, 400 shields is what it takes to go from 0 to 100% of your armor bonus. I would be happy if they took that and crunched it down so it was 400 to go from 20% to 100%. I don't care. What I do care is that we get something. Because right now, if someone's giving me a ton of overguard, all I'm getting is armor. I'm getting a big armor bonus while someone's keeping a bunch of overguard on me. Which sucks. So I need, ideally, from a usability, quality life standpoint, I want one of two things to happen. Either all damage I sustain brings up armor and damage, no matter what source it's from. That would fix the problem right off the bat. Hell, the armor, you know, that would be a big benefit. I could just taunt some enemies, get shot a bunch, get a bunch of armor and damage, and I'm gravy. Or leave that all shit how it is, but make it so all kills bring up both. I need one of the two. I need one of these things to be a universal. It grows both at the same time. This ranged is damage and melee is armor. Basically means I have to get ranged kills before other people get ranged kills, but I have no damage bonus to get those ranged kills in any timely manner. And because I'm overguarded up the ass, I can't get damage bonus from being shot anymore. It's a bitch. What can I say? Vex armor is and will consistently be one of the best buffs in the game. That is a giant pain in the ass to use half the time if you're not solo. And it literally comes down to one thing and one thing only. And that is because they have split up every little thing to be too good. It's almost like they're justifying him having shields by making it so it has to be shields to get this thing and then health to get the other thing. It just, I wish they would stop that. That's just whatever. Effigy. This is the biggest energy drain in the game that nerfs you. This thing just nerfs your ass, and it's almost like you're paying someone to fucking stab you. It makes no goddamn sense. 10 energy per second so that you can get your ass kicked faster. I don't understand. It's not doing enough damage to warrant its cost. It's not nuking the area for 10 energy per second. It's pushing things outside of its physical range to attack things, so that you don't get any credits, any bonus credits from its bonus. This thing basically is two things to me. It is, I am alone on a defense objective, and I need enemies to be temporarily stunned. So I pop it up. It screams. Enemies are like, it screamed, and then I taunt them and take it off, and now they're on me, and I spend all the time taunting. If it's, you know, if things are low enough with how tanky am I, who gives a fuck? It's fine. But I do understand why they nerf the armor. Thematically, it makes sense. You are shedding your pelt, and that's a lot of your armor. So cool. I get it. But it mechanically sucks balls. Yeah, I don't know how else to put it. It's bad. It's extremely expensive for something that actively nerfs you, and people pretty much only use this on Profit Taker and opening vaults in 1999 double credits, because it's the only reliable way to get bonus credits from this thing. That's it, right? If they just reduced the cost of this thing, that would be nice. That'd be a nice quality of life thing, because again, it sure as fuck ain't helping me in any real situation. It's not helping me be better combatant. It's not helping me be tankier. It's not increasing my damage output. It's doing nothing for me other than draining my goddamn energy in a general combat scenario. So there's that. I mean, frankly, they could take it off of being a sustain and just make it last 20 fucking seconds, and it'd be a better ability. Other than being able to, then cast it again to put it back on you. Same, right? Just whatever. Anyway, it's pie in the sky. What I wish it was, and this is never going to happen. There's no world where they put the effort in for this one. But that'd be difficult to do. Wish they would. There is a class in 5th edition D&D for the Ranger, hilarious enough, called Drake Warden. Maybe some people know where I'm going with this one, but what that subclass does for the Ranger is allows them to summon a Drake, and as they level up, that Drake gets bigger. I think around level 6 it becomes big enough that you can, or around 8 or 9, around like 8 or 9, it becomes big enough that you can physically ride it as a mount. This is where I'm going with it. I think it would be cool is if we hit number 4, and instead of it popping an effigy off that just floats there screaming at people, it instead turned into like the pelt graphic is still there, so we don't lose that aspect of it. But the pelt pops off us, and our cloaks get, the signed on gets hidden, because otherwise that would look really weird. And then we physically ride the mount. We ride it as it projects a Drake out of pure energy. You know the wings are energy. Imagine that, but now there's like a Drake underneath it, a giant fucking dragon lizard with our pelt, going over. So you have like the tail, you have the head, you have each individual limbs are going down part of it, and the rest of it, the internal parts, is just this projecting energy. Very sentient of it, which is what the pelt is made out of anyways. So we take that, and now we're riding this thing using our secondary to shoot like a case, and our melee attacks become an exalted weapon of that Drake. So where our melee attacks, the Drake is swiping stuff in front of us. Otherwise, we're running around like normal, shooting things and meleeing things. That would be badass. And hey, it could have our armor, but then we should be linked, and all damage we take should be like comboed between us or whatever. So it's like 50% damage reduction. That would help compensate the loss in armor, I guess. Or maybe we don't lose armor, but all the damage is just is between us or something. I don't fucking know. Either way, if you gave me something like that, where I'm riding this Drake thing that has its own melee attacks, and I'm sitting there shooting things on its back like some weird Drake cowboy, that'd be pretty fucking awesome. I think would play into the fantasy a lot more, and might actually be worth the 10 drain. Though I will point out that Valkyrie's drain was 10, and they were like, yeah, that's too much, it should be 5. Because 10 drain is fucking insane. Sevagoth's is capped. Sevagoth is 0.75, I think, or 0.7 or something like that. Capped at 10, so it's capped at like 7.5 if there's 10 enemies. And this thing is, it's 10. Sevagoth actively literally pauses people's existence by reducing their movement by 95%, and gives you life leech, all while nothing can move or attack you in however much your range you put on them. And we're stuck with Chroma is so weird. Past that, regardless of any of that bullshit, I think from a rebalance standpoint, the one thing Chroma needs more than anything else is health. He has none. As a health tank, he has nothing. Before I switched over to Bellicose and Blessing, going off of what I had for Inaros. Inaros was sitting at 21.9 thousand effective health without any armor bonus at all. Full Umbra, just those 3 mods, and he is sitting at 21,900 health. Chroma with full Umbra and Blind Rage and my 15% ability strength, he had She had 1,018% from Vex armor. Full Vex armor without these blue shards. Without the blue shards, right? So we're talking no shards other than an ability strength, and an Inaros with no shards whatsoever and no buffs whatsoever. Just 3 fucking mods. 21.9 thousand on Inaros, and Chroma got up to, I believe, 21.2 thousand, 21.4. So full Vex armor at 1,018% bonus armor, which is 1,198%, including the full Umbra set, at 291% ability strength. And he didn't even get up to where Naros is naked. The amount of, basically the amount of Archon shards I've had to dump in here and things I've had to dedicate just to increasing his health. It don't get me wrong, I'm able to push a lot. But the point I'm trying to make is I could push a Naros just as much, but I haven't had to. I haven't had to with Grendel either, for that matter, just because of his mass regeneration. I don't get me wrong. I've put a bunch. I think he has 3 armor shards instead of 4 health, whatever. So that's whatever. But yeah, if in an ideal world, if they just doubled his health, so he had 7,400, that would go a long way. That's it. You just double his health, get him into the 700 range, maybe 800, and he is still not up to Inaros levels, but way more wiggle room like Inaros does have, which would be nice. Then we're getting, and then at that point, Nidus. Oof, I think Nidus. I realize this is not my Nidus video, but fuck, man, his stats suck balls. The only reason he works is because of the 90% damage reduction, which you have to get a stack for first, which you then have to attack to an enemy, and everything is based around standing in one place the whole time. I don't hate it. I love the way he plays, but it's yeah, he could he could use some work too. Anyway, I think that's it for the video. I think it's it. I think I'm done. That's everything. That's all. I've talked for too much. This has gone on very long. Hopefully it's gonna be like an hour-long video. Oh, fucking Christ. Hopefully I cut enough of this out to make it not too horrendous. It's gonna be long. It doesn't matter. It's a long video. Yeah, that's it. Bye. Farewell. Yep, video's over.